Today we will be speedrunning Angry Birds World Tour, a 2016 year game that was developed in cooperation with airline companies, I believe. Now this game is going to be played on the Finnair flight AY0080 on the 1st to 2nd of April 2016. Now, when we look at the official speedrun.com leaderboards, sadly we don't have any 100% speedruns, which is what we're going to be doing. All we have are just levels completed. So we're gonna have to be the first one to upload a 100% speedrun of this game. As you can see from the onboard footage of the takeoff, then the weather was actually quite bad during the flight. So during the first, well, pretty much throughout the speedrun, the turbulence was quite bad, and the weather outside, the rain was super bad. It was not quite a tornado or like a hurricane or anything, but like the worst flight I've had personally. So yeah, that has to be taken into account when, like judging how well the speedrun went. Now I think we were also being fired with a flak cannon. Not sure who was doing that or why, but yeah. Now as you can see, the game has 5 different segments, each with 6 levels, and you can get 3 stars on each of them, leading to a total of 18 stars for each one. And before we start, I actually have to scoop over to the middle seat because the person in front of me reclined their seat so far back that using the touchpad was quite annoying. But luckily I got really good RNG in the seating, because as you can maybe see from the video, there isn't actually anyone else sitting on the same row as me, so I can just scoop over without having to ask anyone and play on the second monitor. But right now it's time to press play. Seems like the birds are going on a vacation, but the pigs have stolen their eggs, so it's up to us to stop them. A bit while loading later, and we're into the first level, which introduces us to the red birds. Now you can already see how the turbulence makes aiming a bit harder than usual. It's not so bad in the simpler levels with the red birds, but in the later levels it can get difficult. Anyway, we get the first achievement and we get the 3 stars, meaning we can move on. The second level introduces us to the blue bird. It's the one that splits into 3 and can shatter glass. Now we don't actually beat this level with a single bird. We have to use 2 for it, but luckily we still managed to inch out 3 stars even though we had to use 2. The third level is a bit more tricky, in part because it introduces us to the yellow bird. I think its name is Chuck, if I remember correctly from the Angry Birds movie. Anyway, what makes him so difficult? What makes the blue one a bit more difficult as well is the fact that with all this turbulence, it's really hard to assess when you should be using the special properties of these birds. And so the yellow bird, it speeds up, which at times can be it can require really precise timing. And when you're playing is also always wobbling, everything is bumping up, down, then it gets quite difficult to time it perfectly, even just seeing where the bird flies. And you see that I actually failed this level during the first time. And yeah, here's a short clip of how bad the turbulence is. Now my hand is unstable, it's by no means like I could never be a surgeon, I couldn't hold a scalpel straight, but this just, the plane is not steady at all, so I can't blame everything on the turbulence, like I played that level bad, got 3 stars in the end. Now this level is actually quite interesting. You just have to like get the car moving in the back, and so it drives into the TNT and blows up the front pig. So you can do it with 1 bird. Now on my first attempt I didn't actually get it properly, and this isn't even my second attempt, because I think on the second attempt the car for some kind of reason didn't cause the chain explosion, which was really weird, so yeah. Anyway, it's on to the final level of the first section, which appears to be some kind of a pig spaceport. Anyway, it causes no real issue, we complete the section and get an achievement. So it's on to the next segment, and we get a short cutscene of the birds being confused because their eggs have been stolen again. Well, looks like all our work was for nothing. Anyway, yeah, time to move on to South America. Now the first level of the South America segment introduces us to the egg-laying bird. So when you shoot it, you can tap again, and it drops an explosive egg, and the bird itself gets a different trajectory after that. Now, this bird, even more than Chuck, is quite a difficult piece to handle in the turbulent conditions that I'm playing this game in. It's just that at times you need to get the egg dropped really perfectly, and that just, I mean, it messed up my first level quite a lot. Ended up doing the level with 2 birds, which worked on the second time, not on the first time, because on the second time I broke more of the walls. So yeah. And here comes the first major roadblock of the speedrun: food service. Today's menu and a public announcement. During these public announcements I am locked out of using the screen, so I have to listen to whatever they're saying. Anyway, it's not too bad, I just lose a couple of seconds. On this level I'm ready to shoot the next bird, but somehow luckily the house collapses and I get it all done with a single bird, leading me to get a 3 star. Very nice. The next level introduces us to the bomb bird. You double tap it and it explodes, doing a lot of damage. You can see that nothing is left of this building, which just goes to show how powerful this bird is. Other than that, the next levels, there's really nothing substantial to be talking about. They go on quickly. I get 3 stars and I move on, leading us to the last episode, to the last level of the segment, in which we are again in an airport and I get to yell, "I have an egg," loudly. And on to the next cutscene, where we have again beaten up a bunch of pigs, but it got us nowhere since our eggs are stolen once again. And with that, it's on to the Europe segment. Now the first level is quite easy, but soon comes a level that is one of the hardest levels in the run. Now this here, it seems quite easy, but there's always this one pig that survives the drop, or the items falling on top of it, and it's just super annoying because no matter what you do, it seems that you can't get to him in enough birds, and whenever your score just falls too low. You see, I try like again and again and again, and I have a pretty, I mostly use the same strat, here I'm really close. I get that one pig, but the other one survives. But yeah, this guy just always survives. I even I do end up trying other strategies at times, like here I send the chuck up high, but nothing works. And here's basically the strat. I use 2 of the yellow birds to cut through the front layer of it, and then when I get to the bomb bird, which is the 3rd one, then I try and send it into the stone section. But here you can again see that there's too much rubble in the way, so it might not penetrate properly. And now the other pigs survive. Anyway, we get to the point where the food is delivered to me, and I'm just waiting to complete the level so that I can eat it at last, but it's still no luck. Several attempts later, I finally get it done, which means that it's finally time to get something to eat. Today it's this rice thing with meat on top. There's also a sauce and like these cold noodles on the side, but honestly those things, they just tasted bad. Like, I have nothing else to say about them. I did not enjoy those things. They're basically, they're just a box of cold spaghetti, so I don't know why anyone would want to eat a box of cold spaghetti. So eventually I do just leave them half eaten, and I instead take out my chocolate bread that I bought from the konbini just before the flight. And now we did beat the last level of the European section, which means that it's once again time to see how the birds got their eggs stolen. Well, so it's time to go to Middle East. Another good place to be traveling at these times, keep that in mind. Anyway, we had to close the windowsills, and the cabin lights have been dimmed now, so not too much of a problem for us though. The screen is pretty bright, and in the first level we have to take down this glass palace, which goes pretty well. We end up getting the 3 stars. In this level you have to play as the USA, as you egg the local orphanage in the Middle East. And at last we get to do some more egging at the airport. We 3-star it, and it's on to another cutscene. Leading to our final segment, Asia. The runtime currently is 2 hours and 22 minutes. And it's on to the final level of the run. And here you can see how the lag in the run got really bad in the end. It was never this bad throughout the rest of the run, so it's lucky that it happened on the last level and none of the other levels were affected this much. But even despite that, luckily we get it 3 stars and an achievement. 3-star everything. The pigs are defeated at last, and this time the eggs aren't stolen. Or are they? Anyway, 2 hours and 46 minutes is the final runtime. Now there is also like a 300-star goal. If everyone on the plane plays it and gets enough amount of stars, you get some kind of an achievement, but that's gonna have to be left for another time. I don't even know what that is.